folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. So in the last episode I showed you how to make up bread paste my way, and in particular I showed you how to make flavoured bread paste using turmeric, and that's what I'm going to use today. Just going to go through how I use it and the rigs I use and the tactics I use to try and get the best out of it. So this is the rig then. It's a 0.4 of a gram float. It happens to have an interchangeable tip because it's homemade. But it also has a wire stem. Now this is a spring steel stem. The idea is to make it a very stable float. Obviously when this goes in the water it's pretty much going to self-cock. So with that being the case then, obviously I want to be fishing on the bottom. And so to do that I've got this strung bulk of number 8s just down from the hook length, or just up from the hook length rather, and I've got a size 14 hook. Main line is 019 power line and the hook length is 015 power line. Hook is actually, I think this one's actually a B911, but I have used B711s in the past in size 14. B711s, by the way, probably going to be 13 because they use odd sizes. Anyway, that's the rig. I've plumbed up and I'm probably about that much over depth. The bottom in this swim is pretty clear. There's no issues, there's no real drop-offs or anything like that, so I'm going to start off at around about 6 meters out and then work my way out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed through a pole pot. Now I've got ground bait with me, just a fairly small amount. This is my standard ground bait, which you'll have seen in one of my other videos, which is a mixture of shop bought breadcrumbs and some ground up chicken layer pellets and some turmeric. Very, very simple bait, or ground bait rather. Hook bait, as you see, this is the bread paste we made the other day, and if I take that, I'm going to take a reasonable size, just put it on the hook, mould it around, there we go. Now it's a really soft hook bait, so I haven't actually left the point showing. If I do have any issues with missing fish or just pricking them, I will actually leave the hook point showing. But I generally find that because it's such a soft bait, I'll strike through it when the fish takes anyway, and I pretty much hook up at the same rate as I would with a banded pellet or anything else. Anyway, let's get the thing out there, see how we get on. So I've got a ball of ground bait. Now I've made this up as a fairly light mixture. It's going to be easy enough to squeeze and it'll stay together till it hits the bottom, but it will start to break up very quickly when it hits the bottom. Just put that into the pole cup and ship out, starting off at about 6 meters or so. Which is aiming at that tree there, and just put the ball of ground bait in. There we go. Bait in on top, and we're pretty much fishing. Now, I don't expect to get bites immediately. This is a natural water. It does take them a little bit of time to come on, and we have had some heavy rains this past week. A few weeks ago I did a video and I tried to do some margin fishing just down here. Unfortunately at that point the lake was about 18 inches to 2 feet lower than it is now, and I was literally fishing 3 or 4 inches of water, which just didn't work. But hopefully today we can do a bit of margin fishing down there using these same tactics. Tiny. Oh, it just goes to show. I didn't realise there were many that small in here, whoops. Beautiful though, eh? I've had that one fish and I've had a little bit of activity around the float, but nothing too much just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of pellets, just a fraction, to the pot, and a little bit of ground bait, as you see, and let's hope that starts to get a bit more interest in the larger lumps. I'm only fishing at 6 metres at the moment, so I can go a lot further out if I need to, but to be honest it's just comfortable with this, so for the purposes of the video I'll see if I can start to put a few together from there. There we go. Again, pretty small fish, but very welcome. There we go. A little bit bigger than the last one, eh? Maybe not much though. Probably, I don't know, 3/4 pound or so. Well, that bite came reasonably quickly after I'd put the bait in, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of pellet in the pot. No ground bait this time. I don't know if the pellet made all the difference or if it was going to happen anyway, but it won't hurt to put a little bit more in just for now. There we go, tiny little amount, probably no more than 5 or 6. Right, see if we can do that again. Oh, bounced it. Oh well. So just a thought on the bait again, guys. If you do strike, now obviously I did hit that one slightly and obviously the bait's gone, but if you do strike and you just don't hit anything, then obviously you need to come back with no bait. If you do come back with bait, then it's much too hard and you've done it wrong, because obviously if you're striking and if you're missing fish and still getting the bait back, the bait's masking the hook. So it's vitally important that you do make sure it's as soft as possible. There we go. Small fish today. I've never seen the fish this small in here. I don't know if that rain we had this weekend made a difference, but I don't usually catch them this small. Oof. Something's had the end of that one's tail, look. Wow. I'm just going to scale down the size of bait I'm putting on the hook, because if we are having very small fish down there, then obviously the mouths aren't that big either. So I've literally just put the bait on, and as you can see there's just the hook point on the edge there showing. Let's go back out there, try again. Those fish I've been catching must be this year's, last year's fry, so bodes well for the future, I suppose. As I said, if you come back with any bait, it's all wrong. You need to redo your paste, just make it a bit softer. And remember, you can do it on the bank. Just get a tiny little bit of water and start just mashing it around in your hands. You'll get there in the end. Right, slightly bigger bait this time I think, just to see. Maybe we can get rid of these small fish. And again, that's the beauty of the bread paste, or flavoured bread paste in this case. You can put on some reasonable sized lumps, and because it's nice and soft, you'll get away with it. There we go. We'll try a few more pellets. And see how we go. And the problem I've got at the moment is that there's a bit of an undertow. I'm in this bay, as you can see, and there's a bit of a strange undertow which is actually pulling my float right down to the tip, and it's just a little bit too low for me to properly discern what's a bite and what's not. So I think I'm going to take a shot off and have a bit more sticking out, and then positive bites will show more easily. Okay, well, the 6 or 7 metre swim, as is often the case here, didn't produce that much, so I put a little bit of bait in there and leave that to rest for a while. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out onto the 11 metre swim. I've already, just a few minutes ago, put out a ball of ground bait through the pot and a couple of pellets, but I've left it for probably 5 or 10 minutes, and I've just put a few pellets in the pot, as you can see here, and let's just put those in. See how the swim a bit further out goes. It's only a few inches deeper, but you never know, it might work well. Usually do catch a lot more out there. There we go. That's a bit bigger fish than the ones I've been catching closer in, I think. Not much, but not bad at all. There we go. Oh, and this one's... oh, okay. Hook's in the net, it's come out through the side of his mouth. Let's see how we go from here. Ah, right, okay. That's it. Okay, well, I haven't been fishing out at 11 metres for all that long. That first fish was a nice little fish, and what I'm going to be doing is feeding pellets through the pot rather than the ground bait. It does seem that the pellets are doing the business today, and maybe that's because, of course, the bait on the hook, the paste, looks very much like the pellets. So sometimes you just have to work out whether to use ground bait through the pot or whether to use pellets, and today it's looking like pellets are the way to do it. So there's the wind's getting up now, which isn't helping, so I'm just having to take it really careful with the pole so I don't drop all the pellets out of the pot. There we go, and in. Okay, let's see if we can get another one. So just out of curiosity then, I've been throwing a few pellets just down in the edge there, in the margin, and I'm just going to put this bait out there and just see. This is obviously a little bit bigger than I have been using, but then the fish in the edge are generally bigger as well. So it's worth a go. It's not a match, and it'll be fun if we get them. Now, as you see, that's probably 2 feet deep there, and yet a couple of weeks ago that was probably 2 or 3 inches there. In fact, where I'm fishing now may well have been dry. I can't remember exactly, but wouldn't have been far off being dry just there. No, it doesn't look like there's anything there yet, so it's worth just putting a few pellets in there every now and then and see what turns up. I'll come back to this one a bit later on. Well, there we go. Always worth trying down the edge, isn't it? At least it's bigger than those small ones I was catching down at 6-7 metres out there. this time. There we go. Oh. Nice little fish. I'm going to use a slightly bigger lump of paste on this one this time, just down the edge. It just goes to show the versatility of this sort of paste, because I could use anything from a tiny little piece up to a fairly huge piece, obviously depending on what I'm trying to achieve. But on this occasion I'm just trying to achieve a bite, and I reckon a decent sized lump should do that. Whoa. Knew they'd turn up there sooner or later. That's on obviously a rather larger piece of bread paste. Somewhat larger fish this time. It's not massive, but they never are in this place. They're just great fun. As I say, even with that large chunk of bait on, because it was so soft, it was very easy to strike through. But of course the versatility, as I just mentioned, is such that you could try a smaller piece, you can try a medium-sized piece, or you can try a huge piece if you want. And sometimes the huge pieces are what does it. And you don't necessarily have to change to a big hook either. Come on fish, out of there. Right, there we go. Yep, that's a good fish. Right, where is it? Oh, there we go. Just nicely in the side of the mouth. There we go. Nice little fish. Now, in here I often get that one bite and then nothing else, but let me give it another try, again with the larger piece of paste on the hook. And if we don't do any good there, I'll just go back out on the 11 metre line out there and see if there's anything out there. I've mentioned before about swim rotation. I know sometimes it just helps a lot when you rest a swim. Usually find if there's anything down there, the bites are pretty instant, so I'm not going to give it very long down there. Nope, if there's anything down there, I've had a bite by now. So what I'm going to do is just go back down to the left, just down here, give it one more go, and then if that doesn't work, I'll put a little bit of bait in down there and go back out on the 11 metre line. Nothing back there either by the look of things. What I'm going to do is, I haven't properly tried the area right down to my left there, and I've fed it, but it's 11 metres away and I was being lazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this bait down there while I've still got some on. I need to be very gentle about how I do this. Right, let's see if we can get that down there. Nice and gentle. Yep, away we go. Ooh, fish, slow down. He's broken it off. That was a big fish. Oh dear. Well, the bread paste did its job. Unfortunately, I didn't on that one. But hey, it just goes to show you can catch fish with all sorts of different sizes of bread paste. Let's see what happened to the hook length. Yep, he did me. That was a lot bigger than I expected, that one. However, can't complain, can you? Something that's just occurred to me, folks, is that the reason that hook length broke is because if you remember the video I did a few weeks ago on margin fishing, I was using a light hook length to test out some new fluorocarbon line, and I'd left it on because I was being lazy. So another one for me. Okay, well, having lost that one through my own stupidity, I've just put a fairly smallish piece of bait back on. I'll put a few pellets in and I'll go back out on the 11 metre line. Now, if this was a match, I would definitely have changed that hook length, but as it was a pleasure day, I didn't, and I got lazy and I paid the price. But that's fishing. In fact, thinking about it, that's life. Okay, let's see if there's anything out there on the 11 metre line now. It seems that today the bigger fish have been on the margin lines, but it is 2 feet deeper today than it was 2 weeks ago because of all the rain, so that may well have had some effect on the general fishing. Well, that's my excuse anyway. Whoa, fish! Coming at me! Well, didn't expect it to come this way. Still, never mind. So, back to a smaller piece of paste again, and here we go with the sort of average size fish for today. I don't know, this is probably 3/4 pound or so, I suppose. Definitely the bigger ones in the margins today. Then of course that's often the case, isn't it? There we go. So that's it for another one then, folks. Just a short session today. Hopefully there was enough in there to show you how versatile this bait is. As you've seen, you can use anything from really small pieces of bait through medium size and actually into quite large pieces, and without having to change rigs. Now, I've caught fish from really tiny, sort of that size, up to, I don't know, sort of 4 or 5 pounds today, all on the same bait, just changing different sizes, changing the areas of the swim and making the most of it. Now, will it ever replace expanders or hard pellets? Well, no, of course it won't, but it gives you an alternative, and hopefully you'll make that work for you. And not only that, of course, it's a really cheap bait to use. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one. If you did, click the button. If you want to subscribe, you can. And until the next time, bye for now.